to another grant. The Centre of Excellence program. I'm interested to know, is there anything in the funding guidelines for the Centre of Excellence programs that limits the number of rebids an individual grant applicant can make?
No, Senator.
There's no unwritten protocol. That's right, isn't it?
We don't have any written or unwritten protocol
That's
around
right.
that.
There's no protocols, no suggestion that an ARC Centre of Excellence should cease to be funded because it's been around too long.
No.
It's not like the CRC program, for instance, where there's a time limitation.
No.
Right. And the CRC program works on the basis of grant applications being assessed on performance.
That would be a matter for the industry portfolio. We don't deal with the CRC program.
No, I didn't ask you that. It's the Centre for Excellence.
Oh, sorry,
program.
I thought you said CRCs.
Sorry, I made the comparison on time limitations.
Yep.
There is in the CRC program time limitations, but not in this program.
That's correct.
That's
we
correct.
Can't comment on the CRC.
Your assessment is on performance.
The decision to fund, the process leading to funding is a competitive one.
Yes, of course it's competitive.
And then once the centres are funded, there is a process of review during the life of the centre to consider performance.
But is the criteria one of excellence?
Yes.
Of course it is. It's the Centre for Excellence program.
Yes.
I would be very surprised if there was anything other than that. Surely you would have no other criteria other than excellence. Or am I wrong? Is there some other criteria other than excellence in the funding of the Centres of Excellence program?
In the grant guidelines, there is a range of selection criteria.
Right. Can you remind me of what they are?
So I'll just have to get them for you, but it is with regards to the excellence of the program proposed and with regards to the research investigators that are proposed. And we'll just pull up the actual rest of the selection criteria. I just don't have the grant guidelines in front of me, Senator.
No, you're familiar with them generally, I'm sure. You've got no doubt in where I'm going with this. So I just wanted to be clear. What's the criteria on which you make a selection?
We'll just wait to get the specific selection criteria. Otherwise, we're happy to take it on notice.
No, you will not take it on notice because it's a serious matter I want to raise with you directly.
Yeah.
The current witness is able to take things on notice.
Well, she can, but she could also answer a question directly. We're waiting for an officer to hand something up, Mr. Chairman, so we'll just wait for them to do that.
If the information is here, let's answer it.
It's there, don't worry.
We're just downloading it
It's
from
there.
the website.
No, it's just that they won't take them a moment to find it.
We've got the Parliament House in the work.
Chair, can I just use the interlude while we're waiting to ask a clarifying question?
Certainly.
Either Professor Thomas or Ms Harvey, who was the minister who made the decision to not accept those recommendations for those grants?
Minister Birmingham.
Good. I just want to clarify.
That was my first question.
Sorry, I'd missed that, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to place on the record my appreciation to him for his careful stewardship of taxpayer dollars.
I call it political intervention, for which we'll hear a great deal more about, as we did last time this happened.
Let's focus
with
if we have
Minister
the
Nelson.
information required.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So the assessment criteria. Yep. Thank you. So the assessment criteria for the expression of interest process, which we've just completed, is with regards to the research program. So it's about the quality and innovation, the extent to which it addresses the objectives of the grant opportunity, and we talk about that the objectives are about large-scale, long-term national research enterprises, focusing on cross-disciplinarity research, building national and international links with organisations, industry, and building next generations of researchers, critical mass capacity and capability. That they will be innovative and potentially transformational and lead to significant advancement of knowledge, expertise and technology, will build effective collaboration and critical mass across groups of researchers, are assembled into an effective and integrated research program, including the proposed conceptual framework, the design, human resource commitments, methods, analysis, project structures, budget planning, risk mitigation strategies, and to build effective and high-quality national and international partnerships, exchanges and networks. That's with regards to the research program. So it's based on the quality and the innovation
That's
of
right, both domestic and international.
Yes. And then with regards to the investigators, the contribution of the Centre Director, the Chief Investigators, the Partner Investigators to the proposed research program, and their demonstration of appropriate capability, capacity and commitment to the proposed centre, and the extent to which the investigators are suitable and relevant to the conduct and delivery of the proposed research program, of course giving consideration to our research opportunity and performance evidence criteria.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms Harvey. Now, why is it then that the ARC for coral reef studies, which I think is renowned internationally as probably the best in the world, can't get it onto the shortlist this time round?
It's a competitive process, Senator.
I understand that.
Low success rate, a high number of applications, and that centre, as with every centre that's been funded previously, has had 7 years funding and is going into the competition again anew.
That's right. And you've just told me it has nothing to do with how many years they've been funded. It's on their performance. This is a centre that's ranked #1 in the world for publications and citations in coral reef science. Is that correct?
It's certainly an esteemed centre, Senator. I couldn't comment on the
#1
relative rankings.
in the world.
So what's important to note is that for the expression of interest process for the next round of Centres of Excellence, it's not actually the performance of a previous centre. It's actually about the research program that they're putting forward for their next centre.
I see. So you don't think the operation of the current centre would be any guide to its future activities?
It's not one of the selection criteria,
Isn't
Senator.
it? I see. The lead investigators, Professor Terry Hughes, Laureate Fellow. The other lead investigators, the Director and Deputy Director, equally renowned, decorated, internationally recognised leaders in their fields. Citation numbers, number of refereed journals, number of news items, graduates in training, 148 PhD students, advice to governments. Any one of those criteria, why can't they get on the shortlist?
It is an intensely competitive process across all fields beyond medical research, Senator. For the expression of interest process, the weighting is 70% on the research program quality and innovation and 30% on the investigators, and it's a very intense competition.
Yes, of course it's intense competition, but I tell you what, it looks to me as if there's a level of political intervention once again, because Professor Terry Hughes is a critic of the government on reef policy. Isn't that the real reason this centre's been knocked over?
Senator, this has been a standard competitive process. There has not been any subversion of that process.
How can you say that, given the record of this particular Centre of Excellence? How can you possibly say that? The best in the world.
Senator Carr, the official answer the question.
Telling me it's not been subverted. They're the best in the world.
Senator, that the expressions of interest are not part of the process that goes to the minister. So in that sense, the minister has not been involved in the down selection from expression of interest going to full application.
So who's on the selection committee?
We have a range of experts from across the disciplines. I would need to take on notice to give you the names of those experts, Senator.
Thank you. Now, I just wanted to know whether or not you can refute the claims about the international standing of this particular centre.
I certainly
don't
wouldn't.
think that's the officials' jobs.
Well, it is the official's job if it's based on
to ref-
performance.
to
If it's
refute a
based on
claim.
performance, tell me that I'm wrong.
It's an existing centre, it's a highly esteemed centre, and it has won 7 years funding in
That's
the
right,
last
and you've
round.
just told me that the criteria has got nothing to do with how long they've been funded for. It's on performance, international and domestic. Now, this centre, I put to you, rates the best in the world internationally, renowned nationally, and so on that criteria, as you've just read out to me, should be on the shortlist. And I want to know why it's not.
So you're talking about the existing centre, Senator.
And the application that they've just made.
So the application that has been made, as in all the applications that are made, about a proposed research program and proposed personnel.
How long have they
Not
got
about
to...
it's not about just refunding an existing centre.
I see. So they'll have to apply for additional grants to make up for the ones that they'll lose through this centre, and presumably, because of the quality of their work, or the quality of this research team, they'll secure other grants that would otherwise go to other universities. Isn't that how it works?
We wouldn't be able to comment on the
But
success
that's the reality, though, isn't
of
it?
a hypothetical.
No, hypothetical indeed. Are there any other alternative funding sources available for a centre such as this?
Certainly the ARC has a discrete range of programs, but when we are one of several government funders.
Yes, but which, according to the ARC funding, what other funding sources are available?
There would be discovery project funding, which would be for more discrete elements of what might be in a larger program grant. If there was something that was industry facing, that might be appropriate for linkage. If it was done in partnership with industry, there are also individual awards and fellowships depending on the stage of career that investigators are at.
See, I'm told, according to the ISI Essential Science Indicators, 4 of the ARC Centre's major research partners ranked in the top 20 institutes worldwide for citations for coral reef science, and particularly with JCU ranking the first among 1,644 institutions in 103 countries. It's the largest concentration of coral reef scientists in the world. Can you confirm that?
We'd have to take that on notice.
Now, Ms Harvey, did you make any contact with the CRC to actually, to the ARC Centre of Excellence to explain why they weren't came forward?
So, Senator, we've only recently concluded the expression of interest stage,
Yes.
and I understand that we are this week sending out the feedback
Yes.
to the unsuccessful centres.
So there was no contact with the centre? No contact?
No, the feedback is going out this week.
Yeah, no, I'm asking you a direct question. Was there any contact with the centre to explain why they
No,
were
that's
not?
how that's done through the feedback process.
Yes. And there was no telephone call?
No, that is done through the feedback process.
Mm-hmm.
Under the grant guidelines that we issued, we specified in the grant guidelines
Mm-hmm.
how the outcomes of the expression of interest process would be circulated, and we followed that.
Okay. So, Professor Thomas, I mean, centre of this importance surely would get a call from you if it was not on the shortlist.
Senator, we stick to the process across all of our selection procedures, and if I was to ring some and not others, that would be manifestly unfair.
Sure. So, and Ms Harvey, you didn't ring them?
No, we specified how we would give feedback and how we would notify the outcomes of the expressions of interest process, and that was clearly articulated in the grant guidelines that were advertised as part of the grant opportunity, and we followed that.
I see. I see. Thank you. Can I just go back to the other matter? In terms of these early career researchers, has there been any consideration given to the effect that the minister's interventions will have on their careers?
All universities have applicants for our Discovery Early Career Researcher Awards, and the buoyancy of success is mirrored by the disappointment of unsuccess, lack of success rather, so each institution as the employer will handle that rather than us, Senator.
I see. It is extraordinary for this level of intervention, though. Very. Look, I'm just wondering if you could tell me, if you kept